World War II was not just a global conflict, it was a cataclysmic event that reshaped the world in profound ways. This war, which spanned from 1939 to 1945, left an indelible mark on history, influencing geopolitics, economies, and societies. Over the next 10 minutes, we will explore the pivotal moments, fierce battles, and lasting impacts of a war that touched every corner of the globe. As the world entered the late 1930s, Europe stood on the brink of another massive conflict. The Treaty of Versailles, which had ended World War I, failed to secure lasting peace. Instead, it sowed the seeds of discontent and nationalism. The economic turmoil of the Great Depression further exacerbated these tensions. Adolf Hitler's rise to power in Germany was marked by his aggressive expansionist policies and a blatant disregard for the post-war order. His quest for territorial expansion and racial dominance was met with increasing apprehension from other nations. Japan's expansion, across the globe, Japan, driven by imperial ambitions, extended its influence in Asia. The invasion of China and the subsequent occupation of Manchuria were clear indicators of Japan's desire to dominate the region. The global community watched as these acts of aggression went unchecked, setting the stage for a broader conflict. On September 1, 1939, Germany unleashed its Blitzkrieg, or lightning war, on Poland. This tactic, characterized by rapid and overwhelming force, combined fast-moving tanks and air support to swiftly defeat enemy defenses. Within weeks, Poland was overrun, and Europe was plunged into chaos. The Blitzkrieg tactics continued to ravage through Denmark, Norway, Belgium, and France, leading to a swift and devastating series of defeats for the Allies. With much of Western Europe under Nazi control, Britain faced the full force of the Luftwaffe in the Battle of Britain. The skies over the British Isles became a battleground as the Royal Air Force, RAF, defended against relentless German air raids. This pivotal struggle not only tested the resolve of the British people but also marked a crucial turning point in the war, preventing a German invasion and demonstrating the resilience of the Allied forces. In June 1941, Hitler launched Operation Barbarossa, a massive invasion of the Soviet Union. The Eastern Front soon became a brutal and bloody theater of war. German forces advanced deep into Soviet territory, but the harsh winter and fierce Soviet resistance began to take their toll. The siege of Stalingrad became the focal point of one of history's deadliest battles. The city, strategically located on the Volga River, saw intense urban warfare as Soviet troops mounted a determined defense. After months of grueling combat, the Soviet victory at Stalingrad marked a significant turning point in the war. The defeat of the German Sixth Army signaled the beginning of the Soviet push westward, eventually leading to the eventual collapse of Nazi Germany. The harsh winter and massive losses on both sides underscored the high human cost of the Eastern Front. On December 7, 1941, the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor thrust the United States into the global conflict. The surprise assault crippled the U.S. Pacific Fleet and galvanized American resolve. This pivotal event marked the beginning of a fierce struggle against Japanese expansion across the Pacific. The Battle of Midway in June 1942 became a turning point in the Pacific theater. The U.S. Navy's decisive victory over the Japanese fleet shifted the balance of power. The intense and costly battles across the Pacific, from Guadalcanal to Iwo Jima, demonstrated the brutal nature of island-hopping warfare and the determination of both sides to secure victory. June 6, 1944, known as D-Day, saw the launch of the largest amphibious invasion in history. Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy, France, in a daring operation aimed at breaching the Nazi stronghold in Western Europe. The beaches of Normandy became the site of fierce fighting as thousands of troops landed under heavy fire. The successful landing paved the way for the liberation of occupied nations across Europe. The Allies began a coordinated push towards Berlin, with forces advancing from the west while the Soviets advanced from the east. The combined efforts of the Allies led to the gradual collapse of German resistance and the eventual liberation of Europe from Nazi occupation. In 1945, the Axis powers faced defeat on multiple fronts. The fall of Berlin marked the end of Hitler's regime, while the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki brought Japan to its knees. The devastation of these bombings underscored the devastating power of nuclear weapons and the need for a new approach to international diplomacy. The end of World War II set the stage for a new world order. The establishment of the United Nations aimed to prevent future global conflicts, while the emerging Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union reshaped international relations. The scars of the war were deep, but the lessons learned paved the way for a more cautious and cooperative global community. World War II was a conflict of unimaginable scale and consequence. It redefined nations, ideologies, and the very fabric of humanity. The horrors of the war and the heroism of those who fought are etched into the collective memory of humanity. As we reflect on the lessons learned from this dark chapter in history, we are reminded of the price of peace and the dangers of unchecked power. This brief journey through one of history's most significant events underscores the importance of remembering our past to build a better future. World War II was a seismic event that transformed the global landscape in profound and lasting ways. Its impact reverberated across every continent, reshaping nations, economies, and societies in ways that are still felt today. As we reflect on the end of this colossal conflict, it is crucial to understand its far-reaching consequences. The human toll of World War II was staggering. It is estimated that over 70 million people lost their lives, including soldiers and civilians. The war brought widespread suffering, with entire cities devastated by bombing raids and battles. The Holocaust, perpetrated by the Nazi regime, led to the genocide of 6 million Jews, along with millions of other victims, including Romani people, disabled individuals, and political dissidents. The post-war world saw dramatic reorganization of global power. Europe, once the epicenter of the conflict, was left in ruins. The power vacuum left by the collapse of Nazi Germany and the weakening of colonial empires set the stage for the rise of new superpowers. The United States and the Soviet Union emerged as the dominant global powers, leading to the Cold War, a period of ideological, political, and military rivalry that defined much of the latter half of the 20th century. In the aftermath of the war, the international community sought to establish mechanisms to prevent future conflicts. The United Nations was founded in 1945 with the aim of promoting peace, security, and cooperation among nations. Its creation marked a significant shift towards multilateral diplomacy and collective security, although the effectiveness of the UN has been subject to ongoing debate. The economic effects of World War II were profound. The war effort had led to immense expenditures, and many economies had to rebuild from the ground up. The Marshall Plan, initiated by the United States, played a crucial role in aiding the reconstruction of Western Europe, fostering economic recovery, and curbing the spread of communism. Socially, the war accelerated changes in gender roles, as women took on roles traditionally held by men, and contributed to the early stages of the civil rights movement in various countries. The weakening of European colonial powers during the war hastened the process of decolonization. Many colonies in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East seized the opportunity to seek independence, leading to a wave of newly established nations. The end of the war thus marked the beginning of a new era of self-determination and the reconfiguration of international boundaries. World War II also spurred significant technological and scientific advancements. The development of radar, the jet engine, and nuclear technology had lasting effects on both military and civilian sectors. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki ushered in the nuclear age, influencing international relations and defense strategies for decades to come. The memory of World War II continues to shape contemporary politics and society. The war's legacy is evident in the numerous memorials, museums, and educational programs dedicated to preserving the lessons of this global conflict. The principles of human rights and international justice, which gained prominence in the post-war era, reflect the enduring impact of the war on global norms and values. World War II was a defining moment in human history, leaving a complex legacy of destruction, resilience, and transformation. Its consequences extended far beyond the immediate aftermath of the conflict, influencing the course of the 20th century and beyond. As we look back on this monumental period, it is essential to remember the lessons learned and strive towards a future that honors the sacrifices made and seeks to prevent the recurrence of such a global catastrophe. As we conclude our exploration of World War II, we are reminded of the immense scale and complexity of this global conflict. The war reshaped the world in ways that are still evident today, from the geopolitical shifts to the profound human losses and technological advancements. It was a period marked by both unparalleled destruction and remarkable resilience. Understanding the impact of World War II is not just about recalling historical events, it's about reflecting on the lessons learned and the enduring principles that emerged from this turbulent era. The establishment of international institutions like the United Nations, the acceleration of decolonization, and the advancements in technology are just a few examples of how the world sought to rebuild and move forward. As we remember the sacrifices made and the resilience shown by individuals and nations alike, let us also commit to honoring their legacy by working towards a more peaceful and just world. The echoes of this global conflict remind us of the cost of war and the value of peace. Our collective responsibility is to ensure that the mistakes of the past are not repeated and that we strive for a future where conflict is resolved through dialogue and cooperation. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of history's most significant and transformative events. As we move forward, let us carry with us the lessons of the past and the hope for a brighter, more harmonious future.